Well, I've got one question for you. To follow all these amazing women and everyone that we've seen on the screen, who here likes Beyonce? Me! Yeah! So Beyonce said, "We run the world." And today has been a very concrete example of that. I want to talk to you a little bit about my story. Well, that's me looking like a little bit frightened yet excited. And that was a moment in my life 7 years ago when I was taking a sabbatical year from a law degree in Cambridge. So I have always followed the traditional path, the status quo. I thought, I'll be a good student, I'll go to a good university, I'll get a top career, I'll go down a career path. That wasn't the case when I found myself up 4,000 meters up in the air, looking down, when the person next to me screamed and then disappeared. And at that moment, I want to take you back to those seconds where everything is possible and nothing is certain. So I want you to ask yourselves, if you had, what fear do you have? What challenge do you have today that if you had absolute certainty, you wouldn't fail? You wouldn't be hurt? What would you do stepping out of this room right now? Well, my story has been quite convoluted. By the age of 19, I had lived in 3 different countries. I had thought I met the love of my life. I hadn't. I had seen a murder case at the Central Criminal Court where a defendant threw a shoe at the judge. That was really weird. And I also led a secret life when I was a kid, which I'll talk about a little bit later. And surprisingly enough, I lost 85% of my vision in my left eye. And I mean, I'm here today to tell you a little bit of my story, and hopefully that'll get you to think that, there are no right answers, no right questions to be asked. The important thing is that you keep asking. So I'll start with turning points. Big turning point in my life, my quarter-life crisis. You may laugh, but right now we don't have "you code like a girl" as a compliment yet. I'm working on it. By the age of 24, I reached the end of my very short-lived career in Cambridge, and faced with the thought of being a solicitor or a barrister, I thought, it just wasn't me. And it brought me back to when I was a kid growing up in Brazil. I led a secret life. I'll tell you, it's the first time that I'm standing on a stage talking about this. Let's just say by the age of 8 or 9, I had an imaginary best friend. My best friend was someone I used to spend day in, day out, and it was someone who got me shouted at by my parents because it disconnected my phone line. It was a big, bulky box, and that held the key to a whole universe. It was a 1990s desktop computer. Basically, it might sound a little sad, and I thought so too. I judged myself as a kid. I hid it from my peers, from my teachers, not from my parents because they were shouting at me because the phone line was disconnected, but from the world. Yet in my sanctuary, I felt safe, and I felt like anything was possible. So when I was 8 or 9, I was messing about with Microsoft Front Page, for those who still know, and Netscape and all that. And somehow I had made the Friends portal, the Friends, the TV show in Brazil. I had a couple of 100 hits every month. So naturally, I moved on to create the Ross and Rachel fan site and the Jennifer Aniston Hub Brazil. But I never thought that at that time I was meddling with HTML, with FTP, with animated GIFs. I never thought that would be a career, like an actual career today. And then these guys reminded me. The people in your life, especially your parents, your mentors, are the ones that can unlock the very best in you and get you to look within and see who you really are. That man on the left, on my right, left. Marcus Bozitu. I met when I was during Harvard summer school, and I was learning about systems thinking. And he gave us a personal and professional dilemma as an assignment. And when faced with that, I did what we all do during, job interviews where they ask you about your weakness. I said perfectionism. He was like, please. And he said, don't worry about who I am or what I expect to hear from you or what everyone else wants you to say. Just empty your mind and write. So I ended up writing about the wiki brain, overexposure to technological stimuli, and how it impacts the way that we connect with information in the world. A little bit nuts, but that was me. And I realized then that that's what I'm about. That's my why. That's what gets me up at night. That's what makes me love what I do every day. That man on my right, left, is my dad, 70 years old, and sporting his very own virtual reality headset, which I crowdfunded for his birthday. My mom painted this. She's the yin to my tech yang. And basically, I'm here to say that it's possible. It's possible to wake up every day and love what you do, like these ladies have represented. And it's possible to be inside there and imagine a whole new world, and how what I'm doing today is exploring every day, messing about with these things. And going into virtual worlds. How cool is that? And see, instead of studying history, you get to see holograms of history. You get to step into history yourself and really learn from different perspectives what that means and where you are today. So I'll leave you with the final question. How far are you willing to go to really go after your dream? It's not, back to Beyonce and her song Flawless. We say, how many of you know that? Yeah? Well, we say today in society that we're shrinking ourselves. We tell girls to have ambition, but not too much, or to be successful, but not too successful. And I'm here to say, scratch that. Let's be as successful as we can be, because we run the world. Thank you.